guys, welcome back to another game review. Today we are going to be reviewing a brand new game called Untitled Goose Game. So Untitled Goose Game is a small indie game where you play as a goose, you guessed it, and you are trying to wreak havoc and basically just disrupt the entire town that you live in while you're playing as this goose. And I saw it the other day on YouTube and I thought, you know what, this actually looks like it's kind of like a fun little cute game, and I do love a good puzzle game. So I thought, this might be something I should check out. So I decided to go ahead and get it and start playing it, and I had a lot of fun playing it, I'm not gonna lie. But I never even got off the first level because it was actually a lot harder than you'd think. I don't know if it was because my brain just wasn't doing puzzles well that day or what, but I could never figure out how to complete my to-do list. So basically the way that this game works is that you go through the different levels of the game and you try to complete your different to-do list for each section before moving on. So for the first level of the game, or rather the first section, you're trying to disrupt a gardener on his spree to water all of his plants and care for them all. And you also have a little side quest of setting up a little picnic, which I think is honestly kind of adorable because I love that. But your to-do list for this section of the game is to get into the garden. You need to get the groundskeeper wet. You need to steal the groundskeeper's keys. You also need to make the groundskeeper wear his sun hat. You need to put the rake in the lake, and you need to have a picnic. And to do the picnic goal, you have to bring a sandwich, an apple, a pumpkin, a carrot, jam, a thermos, radio, and of course the basket itself, all to the picnic blanket that is sitting kind of close to the river. And honestly, I found the have a picnic objective easier than the rest of the other objectives on the to-do list, other than the get into the garden objective, of course, because that one was fairly self-explanatory. I just had to wait for the gardener to want to come out. But it was pretty easy, I think, at first to do most of the smaller tasks. The only task that I ever really had an issue with was getting him to wear his sun hat. And I don't really know why that was such an issue, because I tried multiple different methods for getting him to wear his hat. I tried when I got him wet using the sprinkler system. I tried to do it multiple times while he was standing kind of close to the sprinklers, because I was hoping, well, maybe if he gets his hat wet, he'll change out his hat. But he never did, and it was getting really aggravating because I played it for an hour just trying to get him to put his hat on, and I could never figure out how to get him to put his hat on. So if you guys do know how to convince him to put his hat on, do let me know in the comments of this video, because I do plan on playing this game probably on stream at some point, because I would like to go through and get all of the achievements for it, because it kind of aggravates me that I don't have all of the achievements for this game and that I got stuck on the first level. That kind of aggravates me just a little bit. But that is besides the point. So we're going to get into a little bit of a discussion about the gameplay now. And the first thing I'm going to start off with discussing with you guys is that this game isn't a WASD game. So it's actually a point and click mostly. There are a few keys on your keyboard that you do use, but for the most part you are just using your mouse, which I actually kind of like. I kind of like that it's a point and click game. One aspect, however, that I do not like about this game is just that it gives no explanation. So I know you probably are thinking, but Rach, it gives you a to-do list to do, and that is true, but I feel like that's more of a general outline of what you're supposed to be completing, and less of what you're supposed to actually do. When I say it doesn't give you any explanation of what you're supposed to do, I mean it doesn't give you any explanation of how to complete the task at all. It's sort of in Stardew Valley when they give you a journal job and they're like, oh, go get this cauliflower and bring it to Jody or whatever. It'll tell you okay, bring 2 cauliflower to Jody if that's the job. Or okay, you need to bring 32 eggs to Gus for his omelet, and you've brought 12 out of 36 or whatever. It'll tell you what you're supposed to be doing a little bit, and it's kind of annoying that this game doesn't really do that, because it's There should also be, I think, a hint if you've been stuck on one part of the game for too long, that you can go and like get a hint for what you're supposed to do. Because like I have literally no clue how to get that hat onto the gardener's head, and you can't reach it from the best that I can tell because you can't hop or like jump or anything. And then there's like a cooler, and so I tried to pull that over and like get up on top of it, but like I couldn't. I couldn't knock the hat off of the hook and get him to put it on, and I couldn't get his hat wet enough for him to want to change them out. And there was no option for me to like get a hint to like get myself unstuck. And then there were actually a couple times where I got stuck in the garden, like I had accidentally hit the gate and made it shut, and he didn't have his keys, and so I was like literally for like 10 minutes playing it thinking I was like stuck and gonna have to restart the level. Thankfully there is like a portion of the garden where if you move enough bags and stuff, you can actually get out through the like side of the garden. So it was actually a little bit easier than I thought it was, but I did think I was stuck there for a good 10 minutes. And I did get stuck, like I said, with the hat thing, and so I just kind of felt like maybe they should have had like a hint button or like a get unstuck button maybe, or a, I don't know, skip this step. I don't know, just like something, anything to make it a little easier, which, I mean, maybe I was just having a lot of issues with this game that most people don't have, but I feel like if anyone did get stuck on any of the puzzles and there's not like any hints or anything, I don't know, I feel like that could get kind of aggravating. Another slight qualm that I have with this game is when I was first watching the game, I was thinking it was probably like anywhere from like maybe $5 to $10 in price range. But when I went to go get it on Steam, I saw that it was actually $20, which I don't know about you, but I like to get my money's worth in a game, and there's something about the game that's called Untitled Goose Game that does not seem like it's worth $20, and after playing it, I can justifiably say I do not think I like the idea of spending $20 on this game. It seems like a fun game, but like playing it, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to play this a lot to get my money's worth, you know what I mean? And it doesn't really have that many options for like playing it that often, I don't think, because I think probably you could speed run getting the achievements if you were like good at it in like 2 or 3 hours. I mean, I guess we'll see when I stream it to speed run the achievements. But it's kind of like, I don't know, it just felt like it was a little bit overpriced to me. Like, if the price had been a little bit lower, I could see giving it like a higher ranking on this review. But seeing as it is like $20, I feel like when I hear $20, I'm thinking like a pretty good game. Because like for reference, you know, The Sims 4 is completely free for base game. But $20 would buy you like a really good game pack for The Sims 4. So like if you really wanted to have like, I don't know, werewolves or something, probably not that one because it's like a flop pack. But like if you wanted to buy yourself like, I don't know, Home Chef Hustle and maybe like 2 different kits or something, you could do that for the same price that you would buy Untitled Goose Game. And to me that is like more worth it than Untitled Goose Game is. Which, like I said, I was enjoying this game up until the point where I got stuck. So maybe if I hadn't have gotten stuck on it, I would have enjoyed it more. But as it is, my current ranking of this game is a 2-star. Because it's $20 and that's kind of expensive for this kind of game. And I also just kind of feel like there's just something about this game that just seems like it's a little either too difficult or too easy. Like, it kind of seems like it's either one extreme or the other. Like, I feel like either you would kind of struggle with the puzzles, or you would kind of blow through the puzzles and you would finish the game in like an hour. And I feel like that's kind of the annoying thing. Is like it's either too easy to do or it's too hard, and it just feels like it's a little messed up and like it needs a little work. And I'm figuring, since it's called Untitled Goose Game and it's been out for a few years, I'm kind of thinking maybe that the publisher of House has kind of moved on and is working on other games at the moment, and probably doesn't think about updating Untitled Goose Game very often. So, you know, there's that. And then also, you have 3 save slots for this game, which is nice because I do like having multiple saves. But it's a little annoying because it's like, why would I need 3 saves to do this one game? because it should be such a simple game. You could do it in like one run through. Like unpacking, for instance, you have 3 save slots for that as well, which makes a little bit more sense if you want to like replay it, but you don't want to like delete one of your old saves. But it's like for the Untitled Goose Game, it seems like it should just be like one save, maybe. But maybe that's just me. I know that I am a bit picky about certain games having multiple saves, and I guess I'm just kind of thinking there are some games that I play that only have one save slot, and they actually have like more options for playing things differently. Whereas with the Untitled Goose Game, I feel like you can only really play it the one way. Like you can only really play it as a goose that wreaks havoc. It's not like you can really change it up. I didn't play the multiplayer version of Untitled Goose Game because I don't really know anyone that would want to play the multiplayer. But I'm assuming the multiplayer is something similar. I would have to look into it though. If I do look into it, I will insert a clip of me talking about what multiplayer is online here. Okay, so editor right here, I did actually look up and see if there is a 2-player Untitled Goose Game co-op sort of thing. And it looks like there is if you have like a controller that you can like plug into the computer so you can play it at the same time. It looks like you might have an option through Steam's Remote Play Together and PlayStation 4 Share Play to play over the internet with a friend via streaming. But I'm not quite sure about that. It looks like it might be low-key a little bit difficult. But if you have 2 controllers or like a mouse and keyboard and a controller, you can play a 2-player game by having one person use the mouse and keyboard and having the other person use the non-keyboard controller. Or if you're on a Switch, you can use your Goose with a single Joy-Con so that each of you have like a Joy-Con to play with. And then you just select and start the 2-player game and then follow the on-screen directions and press button on your controllers when you're both ready to play. And they did say that the levels are the same, but you can find new ways to play pranks and solve problems, and that you can strategize different ways to complete the levels. They did say that there isn't a split screen and that the players can only be a few yards apart. And unlike other 2-player experiences, the camera does not favor one player over the other and instead will put up an invisible wall if the player goes too far away. So I think it's sort of similar to, if you've played it before, the Super Mario Brothers co-op, where like if you get to the edge of the screen, the other person just kind of like has to move or they get like stuck. So I think that's kind of what it's like, which honestly sounds a little annoying. Like I think if it's going to be a capable game for co-op, it probably needs to just have like some sort of online feature, because the idea of having to like plug in a controller just so my friend can play the Untitled Goose Game with me is a little bit ridiculous. And then it sounds like the really difficult like locally playing thing with like streaming it and doing like all that stuff, that sounds really difficult to me, which I'm not very tech savvy, but I know a lot of people aren't, so it sounds really difficult. And then there's also just the added problem of just if you don't have a controller on hand, or if you're like playing on the Switch and one of your joysticks breaks, like that would be really bad. Like it seems like there's a lot of problems with it, so I don't know. Multiplayer looks like it's kind of a waste of your time. Like if you're looking for a multiplayer game and you're willing to spend some money, I would recommend looking into something other than Untitled Goose Game, because it honestly does not look very good. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back into the official review. But yeah, that's about it for today's review of Untitled Goose Game. If you guys enjoyed this review, please leave a like and subscribe. And I will be linking my Twitch down below in the description box, so you guys can go over there and follow me if you guys want to see my stream of Untitled Goose Game when I try to go get the achievements. And I will see you guys in the next game review. Bye-bye!